Hello, I'm Jessica Engel, and I'm a holistic herbal practitioner and detoxification specialist in Northern California. I'm excited to introduce to you this innovative device, the LuxFlow Ionic Detoxification Foot Bath. Let me be the first to congratulate you on joining the LuxFlow family. We have a lot to share with you. My mission is to inspire and support you and your clients on this journey to a healthier and more vibrant life. I have had the honor and pleasure of interning with the naturopathic doctor, herbal practitioner who designed this machine in 1996 after her studies in hydrotherapy in Germany, India, and Sweden. With this device, we can get a deeper understanding of the symptoms our clients are experiencing and provide them with a deeper understanding of their body's imbalances. The reason I am so passionate and excited to share this information with you is because after searching for answers for over 45 years about my own health, this innovative tool, the LuxFlow Ionic Detoxification Foot Bath, gave me the answers that I was looking for and finally healed myself. So how does it work? The LuxFlow device, the sea salt in the water, the galvanic current break up the water into 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen molecule. As single cells, the hydrogen and the oxygen are able to penetrate the thousands of glands on the bottom of your feet. The toxins, also known as free radicals, attach to the free single cell oxygen or hydrogen and then are brought down by the opposing positive rod, and the toxins attach and move around in the water to express different indications and imbalances within the body's organs. In these following photos, you will learn how to read the waters of the foot bath. I will capture each phase, each indication listed on the evaluation form in a photo montage. These photos will assist you in identifying your client's imbalances. It will take time. Be patient with yourself. I've studied over 800 foot baths thus far, and I am still learning. Each client is individual, and there are no 2 foot baths alike. I am here to answer any questions you may have. Please reach out via phone, text, email, or the LuxFlow Facebook page. Blessings to you all, and thank you for joining us on this exciting journey. And now I'd like to go over the LuxFlow Ionic Foot Bath with you, so you have a deeper understanding of how to read the toxins as they come out. So you are the practitioner, so the wires should be facing you, and then we'll be reading the rods this way. So the first set of rods are talking about our head. The second set of rods are talking about our lungs. And the third set of rods are talking about our stomach. And the fourth set of rods are talking about the belly button and below. So the colon, the liver, the gallbladder. And that's how we're reading the toxins as they flow out of these rods. And you can see that there's some corrosion on every other rod, and this is due to the salt removing the metals as well. It causes a little bit of corrosion, but this is where you're going to be seeing these reactions come out of, or where those eroded rods are, which is basically every other rod. So hopefully that helps you read the foot baths. Okay, so now I'm going to take the time to go over the Ionic Detoxification Foot Bath indication sheet. And this talks about the 3 phases. And in the first phase is our yellow phase. The second phase is the orange phase. And the third phase is our green and brown phase. And in each phase, the yellow phase has 13 different indications that we're looking for to show imbalances within the body. Our second phase, the orange phase, has 3 different indications in that phase, going through the muscles and the tissues. And the third phase is our green phase and brown phase, and that has 5 indications that we're looking for in that phase. And each of those are indicated here, and we'll go into a little bit more detail. So this is the paper you'll want to have out when we go over and through the photo montage so you can identify each indication. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm here for you. Thank you. In the yellow phase, starting with number 1-A, on the right side of the foot bath, when there is no color change within the first 1 to 3 minutes after the client has inserted their feet into the water, then that could indicate a hormonal imbalance or an endocrine imbalance in the body. In the foot bath, if the left-hand side of the foot bath has no color change, this could be an indication of cellular dehydration, congested kidneys, and we would advise our clients to drink more water and support the kidneys through herbal remedies, aromatherapy, etc. This is the adrenal grit. On the right-hand side in the foot bath picture, you will see on the back black splash in the fourth rod where there is yellow, tiny little yellow dots that are creating this, what almost can be confused as mucus. But if you look really closely, they're little tiny dots like sand. And when you see that coming out of the fourth rod and hitting that black backsplash, that is called adrenal, or an indication of adrenal stress. Also, you can ask your client, have they been waking up between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. to confirm that yes, indeed, that could be adrenal grit. Fourth rod bubbling. As you see to the right in the photograph, you can see to the left upper corner is that fourth rod where it's bubbling. And the one here that you're seeing closest to us is the third rod bubbling. But in this picture, we actually are seeing an overgrowth or an imbalance in bacteria systemically. Now, this isn't necessarily what you'll see in every client, but if you see any of this bubbling in the fourth rod with any yellow foam, we can be talking about bacteria in the colon. If we see it here on the third rod, it could be an indication of an imbalance of bacteria in the stomach. And when I see it all 4 rods like we do here and all the foaming, I would call that a systemic bacteria overgrowth or imbalance in the body. Indication of sugars. If we see sugars like we do in the right-hand side in this photograph, it looks like as if we sprinkled sugar in the water or even salt in the water. It's kind of an opulent speckles within the water. And that could indicate a possible sugar digestion imbalance, so unable to digest sugars properly. Blue-green coming from the bottom of the rods, and can come from any of the rods, could indicate elevated cholesterol and not digesting fats properly. Bladder tissue. Bladder tissue migrates to the inside of the foot, attaching itself to the bladder line that we use in reflexology, and that tissue can go as far up to the big toe, which is indicating a possible bladder stress or prolapsed bladder. You can see this dark debris on the inside of that foot. That is congestion and toxins coming out of that bladder. It's ovarian tan tissue migrating to big toe and beyond, heading around to the corner of the bucket and then back down to the outside of the ankle at the ovarian pressure point at the ankle bone. And this could indicate possible ovarian cysts or endometriosis. And if you see on the left-hand side of the bucket, we've got quite a bit of debris, orange debris collecting at the surface of the side of the bucket. And that is an indication of endometriosis. And these green chunks could possibly be an indication of ovarian cysts. Yeast overgrowth. To the right-hand side, you can see in this photograph that this person actually has what we call systemic yeast overgrowth. You'll find this typically in the third and fourth rod, indicating bladder yeast and or vaginal yeast. But in this case, this would be systemic yeast. Yeast is the color of white to light beige foam and bubbles typically, as I said, in the third and fourth rods, indicating yeast overgrowth. Mucus rising could be indicating slow kidney filtration, acid reflux, or allergies. We call this an increase in macrophagia or snot. All four rods are bubbling in this case. This is what we call mucus rising. Orange tan tissue around the foot can be possible menstrual blood, possible problems with heavy periods, or due to the use of birth control. This tissue could cling to the bucket, indicating possible uterine changes, fibroids, or hysterectomy. And again, you can see at the top of the bucket and the outside of the bucket how the orange is gathering in those areas. And that's when we would ask the client if they've ever experienced fibroids or had a hysterectomy. I added this slide so that you could see the debris attaching itself to the bucket above the toenail line heavily, which would indicate, as we discussed before, fibroids or a hysterectomy. Clotted blood in the foot bucket can be an indication of muscle injury, past surgery, urinary irritation, or menstrual symptoms, heavy periods. Heavy metals will typically show up in the very beginning of the treatment sometimes. If they're readily available within the body fluid, you will see black flakes underneath the rods within the first 3 to 5 minutes. And then after that, you start to see these green sheets that will fall to the bottom, and that indicates that these are full of metal as well. Otherwise, they would float. So you can get heavy metals from chemical exposure, medications, drugs, tooth fillings, canned goods, fungicides, herbicides, pesticides, in the air, in our water. People just don't realize heavy metals are in our cereal. They can be in our supplements. We are exposed to metal more than we realize. So this is definitely one of the indications that I pay attention to most when seeing my clients. Heavy metals can cause hormonal imbalance. They can cause dementia. They can cause Alzheimer's. They can impair women from becoming pregnant. They can cause mental fog and depression. Very much want to pay attention to these heavy metals within the body. And so, like I said, you can see sometimes right when they put the feet in, there'll be a little plume of like gray matter. And sometimes that can be metals within the body and the lungs. And then a little bit of flakes of little like black metal will drop from the rod. And then otherwise you'll see it, like I said, in the green acid kind of looking sheets. Parasites, and so these will look like green worm-like strings and can be larger in size depending on the type of parasites that could be indicated. So in this picture, we're seeing this tinier, smaller, stringy-like parasites, but they can be double or triple or quadruple even the string size that we see here, depending on what type of parasites you have. They range anywhere from the size of a small grain of rice, and I've seen them up to 2 to 3 inches long in the foot bath. again, depending on the type of parasites, which is not, we are not able to indicate within the Footbath, but there are other programs that can determine exactly which ones they are. But that's another subject. So your clients may be experiencing bloating, nausea, increased sugar cravings, headaches, body aches, depression, anxiety, and I have even been told parasites can mimic fibromyalgia symptoms as well as diabetes or diabetic symptoms. So always definitely want to make sure your clients do not have parasites, because it can remove a lot of symptoms and save a lot of the guessing work. So this is parasites in the Ionic Footbath. All 4 rods bubbling with even some white smoke can take place. Doesn't mean it has to, but it can. Could indicate an autoimmune response, indicating arthritis, diabetes, Lyme's disease, fibromyalgia, Graves', Crohn's, etc. Also, to be possible, confused macrophagia should fight infection. So the body's overwhelmed with a mucus, is producing too many white blood cells, and is confused on what it's supposed to actually be doing. And so that is what this bubbling is indicating in the orange phase. In this phase, we'll look for orange and yellow foam around the rods, and this could indicate a possible virus, a cold, mono, shingles, herpes, flu, etc. Anything that would be a virus. So always asking clients if they've had anything like this in the past, if they're not feeling ill at the moment when they see you, or possibly they were just sick or maybe fighting something they didn't even know they were fighting. Abnormal pooling and bubbling. And we can see here in the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd rod, there is abnormal bubbling of yellow foam and green foam, and it is pulling to different pressure points or reflexology points within the foot. So in this case, on the right hand side, we've got pulling in the bladder point, and then we have the first rod showing inflammation in the head, or congestion, I would say, in the head. This green matter is more like acid, and so pulling up towards the big toe indicates possibly some bacteria or congestion, toxic congestion within the head. And then it can also, with blood on the edge of the bucket, indicate a traumatic tissue injury. And without bubbling, we would say it could possibly be systemic pain like fibromyalgia. Gray clouding. When we get to this part of the Footbath, we're in the 3rd phase of the Footbath. This is when your liver, gallbladder, and colon dump. And in this Footbath, we are seeing gray clouding, and this would indicate some liver congestion due to medication. As we can see, all of this green bubbling near the rods is a very toxic liver and gallbladder. Lots of green acid. These are green flakes, smaller in size, round compared to the liver flakes, are indicating gallstone or gallbladder congestion. And you see to the right hand side, there is a green round flake over the second toe. There is a small green round flake in the back to the left of the bucket. And that is what we're looking for as far as gallbladder congestion, are small, round. They can be small as an eraser, even a little bit smaller, and they can be slightly larger like you see here in this photo. And so you'll want to ask your clients when you see these gallbladder congestion indication flakes, are they experiencing headaches? Are they experiencing pressure in their eyes, ringing in their ears, neck and shoulder pain, sharp pain, circulation problems in arms, carpal tunnel, tingling, bloating under the ribs, right and lower quadrant of abdomen, legs cramping, painful feet? These are all indications of gallbladder congestion. This is more examples of gallbladder flakes. As I told you, they range in size. You see a few smaller ones there connecting to the right-hand side of the foot, and the larger one, just another example. Liver flakes. These can indicate liver congestion, similar to the gallbladder symptoms, and will include acid reflux, possible irritable bowel syndrome. This liver is very congested with heavy metals and liver parasites. This is not what you're typically going to see when looking for a liver flake. It will look hopefully more uniform in shape, looking like a box, not really a rectangle, not really a box. It'll look like a slice of a cell, and you should be able to see through it. But in this case, you can see that this client has extremely heavy metal, mucus, congestion, and parasites in their liver. Not something you see regularly. This is an example of a liver fluke, but on the healthier side compared to the first slide. Just wanted to show you what it looked like. Fecal matter, undigested food in intestines. When this undigested food clings to the bars, it is indicating constipation. When this undigested food is collecting at the back of the bucket, it indicates not chewing food enough or a lack of digestive enzymes. Green phase number 5. Dark green, slimy, bubbling on the 3rd and 4th rods could indicate bile in the stomach and or indicating leaky gut in the stomach and or in the bowels, the colon. The clear bubbles are indicating possible inflammation in the colon, the liver, and or gallbladder.